Hi everyone, I'm Dee. I'm the face behind my special life. You'll have to excuse the voice and the sniffly nose. I am fighting the tail end of a cold, so I'm a little off my game. I haven't posted a video in a while because crap has happened. People got sick, including pretty much all of us here at the house and some other family members. So things are finally starting to settle down. I'm feeling a little less like death. So I'm going to jump back into turning the blogs into vlogs and then going from there. So I'm going to start this one with when our kids get in trouble. So there is some language in this one, so bear with me. And if you don't like strong language, then go elsewhere. I will not sugarcoat things. Okay, so this one I had thought about writing for a while. I was kind of on the fence about whether or not I should, and then I decided that I should because our kids get in shit. They do stupid crap. We have to get after them. So, at the time I wrote this, my son had gotten in pretty big trouble at school. He decided that screaming at school staff and then trying to leave school property was a good idea. It was not. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about it because there was more to the story, but that's something that is between us. So, it warrants a discussion about how, and in some people's minds, if we should discipline our special needs kids. And so here's my opinion on when our special needs kids get into trouble. There's so many times when I hear their parents say that, for example, little Johnny is special needs and he doesn't know better. Poor him. That pisses me off to no end. Because, okay, yes, there are a few kids who really do have no clue between right and wrong. They're not at that stage where they understand it yet, like my daughter. She's starting to, but she's still not quite there. So, in the vast majority of cases, yeah, they do. They get it. They know the difference. Special needs might be a reason that certain behaviors happen or why kids react a certain way, but their special needs are not ever an acceptable excuse to be little assholes when things aren't going their way. Because it happens. Aiden has had his fair share of genuine autistic meltdowns. He's also had tantrums. They are not the same thing. Meltdowns happen when the kids get overwhelmed and they get to a point where they just don't know what to do, so just ah! A tantrum is just that. A kid being a brat because things aren't going their way. Meltdowns, I help them through. Tantrums get dealt with sternly. So Aiden is 12, soon to be 13. So in his level of autism, he's high functioning. He absolutely understands what's right and wrong. He does have a hard time sometimes distinguishing because sometimes there can be that fine line of one way or the other, so I do have to help him understand, and that's fine. He does have a hard time regulating himself, and he does need help when he gets angry or frustrated. We can deal with that. But being a disrespectful ass is not a route that I allowed. Now, I'm big on talking about things, and I always have been. I like to make sure that he understands what part of his actions were not acceptable. And I make sure that he understands what the consequences are. I make it clear that I'm disappointed and upset, but that I love him. And that's a big thing with him. He needs to know that he's still loved because he tends to just shut down because he thinks he's done everything wrong. Aiden is the kind of kid that needs to be reminded that he's still loved, even when I'm upset with him. I also make it clear that when he's calm, if he's still freaking out, we are going to chat about it. During this chat, I don't repeat that I'm not happy with him. I state it once in the beginning of the whole thing, and I let it go. We talk about what he was feeling when he blew up, and I never tell him he's wrong for feeling the way he feels because you can't help your emotions. Everybody has emotions. The good, the crappy, the in-between. They happen, and I'm not going to punish him for feeling the way he feels. Most of the time, Aiden doesn't really understand what he was feeling at the time. It can take a really long time to break it down, I think the longest has actually ever been like 5 hours, where we've had to like go back and forth and figure it out, take breaks, and really get down to the root of it. Sometimes his feelings are jumbled up and confusing. I always tell him that it's perfectly okay to feel like that. I tell him that even grown-ups feel that way sometimes. We chat about what he could have done differently. Sometimes he just can't figure it out, and I give him suggestions. I know the school likes to use social stories, and I find a lot of the times they're targeted towards the lower functioning kids or younger kids. They're not always age and ability appropriate for him, so I kind of tweak them my own way. Sometimes we even practice conversations that made him angry in the past so he can work on diffusing it himself. Once we're done with that, we talk about what the consequences are. In the case of this situation that prompted the blog, he was grounded. He couldn't spend time with his friend for 2 days, and he lost all screen time privileges for a week, including TV and games. He also had some extra chores to do that included some heavy-duty yard work. Aiden likes to know what's happening and when, so we marked it all down on his calendar, and I find that's a really big thing too. Like, the most recent thing was he decided he was going to screw around with data on his cell phone. That was fun. And I finally convinced the company to turn off the data on his phone, but he lost his phone privileges for a month. So I actually marked down on the calendar when he got grounded from his phone and when he gets his phone back, because he likes to keep track. And I find if he doesn't know, he actually gets more frustrated about the situation. So for everyone's sanity, we just mark it down. Now, to go to the other end, my daughter Stephanie is different. Like I said, she genuinely has no clue what's right or wrong yet. Now, at the time this is written, that was still true. Now she's kind of getting a feel for what's right and wrong. You can see her when she goes to do something, she'll stop and think for a second. A lot of the time she'll still do it. And then when I tell her no, sometimes she'll look surprised. Other times she's like, yeah, I know. So I'll keep reading this about when this happened. So she does know what I would tolerate from her and what I won't. She's only just started having tantrums, and even now, they're not that bad, and they're actually not that frequent. I still address them immediately, and in a way that she understands. So I'll remove her from the room. If she comes back in and she's still having her tantrum, I take her out again. It doesn't take her long to calm down. When she comes back and she's calm, she gets a cuddle. Doing things this way, she's learned what she can and cannot touch in the house, which actually isn't a whole lot. She's learned that if she wants up on the couch, she needs to sit nicely, meaning not bouncing all over the couch. She's still figuring things out though, so it's a long road. So by taking her out of the room, what I mean is her bedroom is kind of just around the corner from our living room, so I will pick her up, I'll put her in a room, and just out of habit, I always give her a kiss. And I come out, and if she's still whining or crying or having her tantrum when she comes out, I pick her up, I put her back in the room, and I leave again. I never say anything. I just pick her up, plop her down, out I come. And now she's only down to coming out once if she's still having a tantrum, and I put her back in. And she's figured out that it's going to keep happening unless she's calm. And once she's calm, she gets a snuggle, she gets a kiss, whatever. So when it comes to being on the couch, she's actually learned now that when I say sit on your bum, she does. She'll sit on her bum. She's not happy about it, but she'll do it. So give me a second, I just have to scroll down. Now, every kid is different. It sounds cliche, but it's true. And I do say it a lot. The kids are not the same. A lot of things are trial and error. No one knows your kid like you do, so you're the best person to figure it out. Not easy. It's frustrating. It's emotionally draining. You're not the only person going through it, and you're not alone in the way you feel. So, when they're being little buggers, and you feel like you're at your wit's end, send them to the rooms. And I've done that. I've told Aiden, you know what? I'm getting too frustrated right now. You are irritating me. You need to go to your room before I get angry. I need a few minutes to myself, and we will talk. And that's perfectly okay. We need 5 minutes to ourselves. Have a nice cup of tea, or whatever you want to sip at, and figure out how you want to approach the situation, because the last thing you want to do is get pissed off. You don't want to say something you're going to regret later, because especially with our special needs kids, they take everything we say to heart. And they think we mean it exactly the way we say it. And trust me, it is a lot easier to deal with when you've both had time to cool off. So good luck. And to quote the Hunger Games, may the odds be ever in your favor, especially when they're approaching the teenage years. So that's that blog for now. I am off to do the next one before I go to bed. Bye, everyone.